In the previous video, we saw the demon Samuel who just came through the gate which links the two different realms, and he told Yan Liang he is her father, who spent years and years looking for her. Now he explains that the gate which connects the west and the east is open, and all the devils in the other side are ready to welcome her as the princess of their world, the daughter of the king. Then in order to repay the underworld for the harm it caused to his daughter, Samuel orders the devils to start a noisy war. The soldiers of the underworld feel the danger and suggest calling the Ghost King Zenki, and Ben Lang is afraid if the king himself is in danger. Indeed, Zenki was in a deep dark hole, detained by Siko Tongrang, a Yin marshal who suddenly became the head of all the affairs of the Sixth Palace, and now he's in charge of Zenki's case, and he will start an investigation on how the King of Ghosts caused the release of 100 ghosts. The king explained how the seal broke and there was no way to save the situation. Then Siko asked him why he left Wang Hang, the 100th ghost and the most dangerous one, come up to the underworld. Also his sister Yan Liang, who's the daughter of the famous devil of the Western Hell, Samuel, who's now attacking the underworld with no mercy. Zenki gets surprised of the news and begs Siko to send protection for White because Samuel is after her and her powers. However, the marshal refuses. The thing which makes Zenki breaks the chain to deal with this matter on his own. And suddenly, Siko turns out to be Luchu in disguise and saves him by killing all the other soldiers. Back to the city where Samuel tries to convince his daughter to go with him, but she insists to stay with her brother, so he hypnotizes her. Wang Hang interrupts and tries his best to stop the demon, but all his attempts are useless since the difference between their powers is huge. Fortunately, Zenki and Luchu join the fight in the right moment, and Black asks them to save White before he passes out. And somewhere else, Langia, the ghost number 3 of the 100 ones who escaped from the seal, is making sure he absorbs enough devilish ki. The underworld soldiers suffer in the war, and Yang Yun gets extremely angry of how Samuel didn't think about the 5 lords of ghosts. Du Ziren, the lord of the western ghost, and Zenki, the lord of the central ghost, sitting in the corner, ask Yan to calm down and watch in silence. And the more noise the demon creates, the more it gets easy for them to catch him. Ka Yulei and Zhao Wenhe, 2 more ghost lords, come in also, and try to know why they can't take action now since the people of the underworld are suffering in the war while the ghosts ravage their lands and properties. Zuki explains to them that as long as they have Yin marshals and the Ghost King, they will always be fine, and they will find a solution no matter how much time it will take. Suddenly a soldier comes in to inform them that an envoy has been sent from the Western Hell to meet the 5 Ghost Lords. Back to the gate where Zenki killed the ghost, and now he faces their leader, Samuel, and he refuses fighting him in front of White. Luchu seems to be surprised after seeing Wang Yan. They are here after receiving orders from Mr. Bao to capture Zenki, and this seems to be a great chance for Samuel to escape with the girl. But before he walks through the gate, Zenki tries to make sure if Samuel will keep the girl safe before what he caused that day. The name seems to be like a code and made Samuel quickly reacts on it. He points his powers at Ghost King and asks him how much more does he know about the day. Zenki remains silent, so Samuel takes his daughter and goes to Western Hell, leaving Ghost King to deal with Siko, and all what he can do is to escape before they capture him. Later, Xian Yuan finds Zenki and asks him to stop fleeing, but he refuses since the invasion of the devils would not be the end of what happened today. The 3 realms are about to live unprecedented disaster, so they have to get White back before Samuel uses her huge powers. Xian Yuan refused listening to what the king says and directly attacks him, but at the end, he just got killed and the king escaped successfully. On the other side, Samuel and his daughter are truly planning for an important day. Wang Hang wakes up in Luchu's house and promises to find White and bring her back, but the lady tells him that before Samuel does what he calls that day, they can do nothing. The boy gets surprised of all this news, so she takes him to another room where she can explain. Zenki in the palace meets the envoy, Lord Mulu, who came in order to clear up the mess which Samuel created. Back to Luchu, who takes Black to the basement where she can test his power to see whether he can save White or not. As they get in the elevator, she tells him that White is the only one who can destroy the 3 realms with her strength. This due to her being a combination of the most powerful devil from the hell, which is her father Samuel, and the most powerful evil spirit from the underworld, which is her mother Dongting. She's the child of the most realms' greatest powers, and she's the only one who has the magic to destroy the 3 realms with her hands. That is why she always wore gloves. When the elevator stops, the door opens on a deserted land. They walk for a few minutes and they find a weapon made by Zenki, specially to be used by Wang Hang. It is called Baishu. When the boy touched the sword, he realized it absorbed his spiritual ki. Luchu explained it's totally normal, and the powerful the sword gets, the more spiritual ki it needs. And the Baishu sword is just like a black hole for ordinary people, since it's absorbed spiritual ki all the time, but not for him, who has infinite source of it. The boy grabs the sword and the lady starts teaching him how to control the spiritual ki. Outside her house, Siko's soldiers detected a huge amount of energy in Luchu's house, and the marshal realized it comes from the boy, not the lady. Suddenly, and while all the units surround the house, another unknown energy reaction is detected inside. Seiko believes it belongs to Zenki, so he ordered the soldiers to enter the house and find him. The commanders enter the house and follow the signal, which leads to a secret passage. After walking in it, they find the elevator, so they enter in, thinking it probably leads to the place where Zenki is hiding. When the door opens, somehow they find out the path they took led back to the floor they started from. So the elevator they took was a trap, but in the right one, the door opens on the true destination for Zenki. He brought two guys who will help them against Samuel. The first one is Lord Mulo, who will help them to sneak into hell because he sees Samuel as a threat to hell itself. But this only happened under two conditions. The first one is making sure Samuel is safe no matter how they save the girl, and the second one is they have to take care of everything on their own because the authorities will only have them getting into hell. Lucio feels upset since they have no one to guide them in hell. And here Zenki introduces the guide, Sang Sang Wuzi, the boy who suddenly decided to work against Samuel. Back to Seiko, who's so angry because he couldn't catch the king, but he will investigate the signal which he detected in Lucio's house. On the other side, the king and his mate made it successfully to hell, and Sang Sang showed them the way to the Red Dragon estate where the target is. In parallel, Dongting, the mother of Yilang, turns out to be the daughter of Shiyu, the head of the 10,000 ghosts and the king of the 100 ghosts, and now she goes back to see her father in order to ask for help in her fight against the man who took her daughter away. The five lords discuss this matter and seriously thinking about stopping her because the one she's after is so dangerous, and the emperor of the underworld won't be happy when finding out she's colluding with the king of the 100 ghosts. The team arrives to the Red Dragon estate. At the entrance, they meet the mountain ranger. Tells them, in order to get to the castle, they need to cross many different separated areas, and their positions vary constantly. In order to get to the castle where Samuel is, they need to cross the front yard forest, and then the Dragon Ball Vault, and they should fly from there riding a tamed gargoyle. The guys seemed to be happy since they got the information they needed, but now the ranger surprised them because his job is to kill them even after revealing too much. He shows his ability to control the water from the River of Misery, and once you touch that water, you will relive traumas from your past and it awakens the bitter memory a person has ever lived. This made them all freeze while remembering their bad memories. Somewhere else, in a dark cold mountain, Dongting keeps moving forward to meet her father, who was waiting right in the summit for her. Then she informs him that she wants to make a deal. In the interest of the Red Dragon estate, Lucio could wake up instinctively from the illusion caused by the Water of Misery River, and she used her power to awaken the others as well. But then the Rangers summoned a group of creepy demons called water puppets, made of the water and mud from the river. Zenki uses his power and destroys them all in a blink of an eye, but the Ranger creates more and more in order to exhaust the team's spiritual potential. But then Wang Hang uses his weapon, forced by the fires of Zenki, and kills the Ranger. After this, the ashes of a dead body release the blue crystal, which later turns out to be a gateway through the forest. At the end of this, Lucio remembers how she met Zenki several years ago, when Han Wang's true sister Huang got killed, and the boy got transferred to a savage animal trying to kill those who killed his family. And since she was one of the black and white warriors, she had to stop the danger, and Zenki took the big risk to help her by eating the sun pullet, and when the monster eats the guy, he indirectly eats the pullet, which is going to kill him. And this was one of the most beautiful memories this couple ever got. In the mountain, Dongting is with her father talking about raising the three realm when suddenly a portal opens and three lords come out of it: Zuki, Yang Yun, and Du Zidan. They came to stop them from working together. They inform her that she got removed from her office as a Yin marshal, and now they will bring her to justice. The fight between the two sides begins, and they both seem to be merciless with each other. Dongting uses her full power, Zuki also does the same, while Yang Yun and Du Ziren face the King Shio. The Lord Zuki defeats Donkey, the strongest Yin marshal of the underworld, then he jumps to help the two lords to kill her father. Using the luck of the five lords of ghosts, he orders his two mates to exert all spiritual power to annihilate this demon they create, what Shu calls a charming spirit. But before they hit him with a spear, someone interrupts and saves his life. It was all a trap made by him and his daughter Dongting, who is still alive, and they successfully exhausted the three lords, which makes it now easy to kill them. Then Fufu, the loyal servant, kills Zuki, and the spirit they extracted from their bodies is later used to heal the wounds of Chu's true body. In hell, the group keeps moving forward, and they arrive to the second area, the Dragon Ball Vault. Samuel in his castle gets informed by the entrance of the strange people from the underworld, but he believes they can't make it through the Dragon Ball Vault, and even if they do, it will be too late. He asks the guard to bring his daughter, and the moment he has been waiting for finally arrived. Dongting, the mother of Yin Yang, gave him a seed once, called the Word of Blasphemy, and it also prepared by him, her father. The seed starts growing, and it swallows the girl. In the Dragon Ball Vault, the guys feel something wrong going on, and then they meet the Tomb Keeper of the area, a girl called Ansu, who comes to fight with them and asks them to leave. Luchu and Wang Hang start a fight with her, but suddenly a guy named Rumida joins the party for more noise. Back to the mountain, Chu's body is starting to take shape finally after all these years, so he abandons the human body he used all this time and gets his true face back. In the Dragon Ball Vault, Rumida explains how the seed of the blasphemy wood needs a huge amount of spiritual ki to take root and sprout. White will sacrifice her life to create a huge perfect dark world full of demons according to what Samuel wants. At the same time, Zenki says that his soul consists of several spiritual bodies, and now he feels one of them is getting restless. The feeling is due to the scar he has on his face, which was created by Chu himself a long time ago, and he saved his life back then and told him he's the mightiest lord of war among the three realms. In the mountain, the demon and his daughter are sharing a moment of victory after healing the original body and promise to bring harm and destruction to the three realms. In the underworld, people discuss the recent incident and try to keep an eye on the situation of their world. Suddenly, they see a flashlight in the sky. Shiyu is back. Somewhere else, the great emperor of Fengdu keeps watching in silence, and the young Marshal Siku is now leading the troops to stop Shiyu, but he's way powerful than all the ordinary people. They attack him, but he enjoys absorbing their strength. Suddenly, Mr. Bao, leader of the 5th Palace of the Underworld, arrives. He asks Shiyu to know the reason behind this attack on the Underworld, so the ghost answers that he wants to take his revenge from those who sealed his soul and made him live years of darkness, isolation, and loneliness. Then he summons the ravenous ghost Xing Qian, who was buried under the Fengdu city, and now he has the same destructive intentions. Bai Long arrives as well to protect the underworld, or at least do his best, but the beast proves he can't win with normal powers, but he calls the greatest weapon. Many Genku cannons firing at once, but the demon caught all the bullets to show them how useless their methods are. Back to the Dragon Ball Vault, the battle gets noisier, but the two opponents, Ansu and Rumida, are ready to sacrifice their lives for Samuel because he's the only one who saved them when they were in trouble a long time ago. After this confession, it became a fight till death, and it ended by gaining 2 more spiritual cores after killing Ansu and Rumida. And Zonki gives them to Wang Hang to help him get the Red Dragon estate, and they will let him go along, which means he will face Samuel on his own. At the same time, Luchu and Ghost King will go deal with Chu in the underworld. And Dongting enters the hell and meets Samuel. She asks for her daughter, but she couldn't resist her feeling toward that guy who stood confidently in front of her. He got closer, but her love stops her from killing him. She seems to be as childish as she was when she fell in love with him ages ago. However, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he stabs her to get 1 seed of the word of blasphemy while knowing about the existence of another one, and before he extracted, Fufu furiously attacks and distracts him. Dongting looks at the sky and sees the Master Eye getting closer to the moon. The day has finally come, the day of arrival. At this moment, the poor mother realized what happened to her daughter, and that her spiritual powers could nurture the first seed, and now he's planning to let the mother join her daughter and nurture the seed together and create the most powerful word of blasphemy, which will be able to break through the ghost of itself. And only after this, he will be able to destroy everything and give more space for hell to grow. And then the lady uses the last drop of her spiritual power and kills her loyal servant Fufu. Yi Lang got exhausted and consumed all her spiritual ki, and her mother dies of how bad her wounds are and vanishes away like she'd never been. So now there is no one who can feed the wood, and it will die after a couple of days. After this, Wang Hang arrives, and now he has to fight Samuel, who totally transformed his body to a monster. A very harsh and merciless battle goes on between them to make each side repay the damages caused to the other one. It all happens at the same time when Zenki fights Chu. The old ghost shows a huge power level, and he attacks without any hesitation, promising to make the 3 realms pay for making him live the loneliness and the darkness of over 100 years inside the seal. He says blood for blood and attacks with a liquid full of spiritual ki. Zenki realized every sort of power comes of the same origin, so he summons a huge ghost and it absorbs the red liquid instead of throwing it away. The ghost gets shocked by how strong Zenki's spiritual ki is and tells him that the bottom of his spiritual ki is surrounded by numerous layers of other spiritual ki. And just now, the spiritual ki that belonged to him and to his friend Luchu had been exhausted from outside to inside. But before reaching the bottom, there is another layer which belongs to Chu's daughter Dongting. It nurtures his body, so he will eliminate him. The Eye of Lords start to collapse as a sign of turbulence from the underworld, and Samuel informs the black and white couple that the 3 realms are deemed to collapse. Back to the fight between Chu and Zenki explains how Dongting knew this day is coming, so she transferred a part of her soul to him, and now the only way to save the world from the evil power of Chu is by merging their souls and dying together. Years ago, Dongting knew this day is going to come, so she handed Zenki a seed of the word of blasphemy. He must plant it in the three realms collapse. Now in the fight, Ghost King does the necessary moves and merge his spiritual key with Chu's spiritual key, the thing which caused their disappearance and also pushed the three realms to collapse. In hell, Seven is about to kill Wang Hang, but then Yilian suddenly seemed to grow up, and her physical shape changes. She threatened her father, and when she steps back, water puppets drag him down to the nowhere. Then Sang Sang shows up. He brings the seed of word of blasphemy, and now one of the Emperor Black and White warriors must sacrifice his life to rebuild the three words using his spiritual key to nurture the seed. And White chooses this path, but Sang Sang explains that after a couple of years, no one knows how much it can be. A 100 just as much as it can take 10,000 years. The seed will transform White to an ordinary person and send her back to life, so Black has to wait for her to come back to him. The world becomes much better than it was, and Black keeps waiting for his soulmate. Love always wins, and evil vanishes away. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please take care and wait for our next video.